All righty, everyone. This is Taylor Gardner. Taylor, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you. Let's go ahead and just jump right in. So, for the people that don't know you yet, what is the quick version of how and why you started your business or your first business and your
Yeah.
entrepreneurial journey?
For those that don't know me, I came out of college with a business management degree and knew that I wanted to manage a business, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. But like anyone in this field, you still have to find the idea. You got to go find the business you want to run. Well, luckily for me, my senior year of university, I should say, got to get those right, university and college. So those professors don't like it when you get those two interchanged there. I started a moon bounce company, so that was actually my first company, Anytime Inflatables. And I had some experience in high school doing some part-time work and kind of already knew the revenue stream that it could bring in and the workload. And then we tailor made it to only using inflatables and moon bounces that one person could handle. That way I would never be stuck if I didn't have a helping hand. At least physically, I knew I could go perform the job duties. So that was the first company, and it takes up your weekends, but it sure does put a little jingle in your pocket. And it is one of those type of businesses that you really get to meet a lot of influential people, and you get to be the most wonderful loved person when you show up. That child has a moon bounce being there for their birthday, and then you're also the most hated person when you leave because you're taking it away.
So Taylor, for the people that don't know you, you are, I mean, we're pretty good friends. We've known each other for quite a while. You are a serial entrepreneur. What kind of started that itch, if you will? I think we've talked about this once or twice before, but what kind of started that? Yeah, I like this. I know this is what I want to do, kind of thing.
It actually started as a child. I saw my father being a serial entrepreneur. I don't think he planned on being a serial entrepreneur as much as that's just where life took him. And so, he had trucking companies, he had barbecue restaurants, he had all kinds of a roofing company, and he was doing all of this so that he could provide for his children. He coached us all in our sports as much as he could, and he had three children. I was the youngest of three boys, and so we were always very busy. And I inherently kind of knew, wow, he's working his tail off just to be able to be available, or take an evening off if he has to go coach us. But it wasn't rare, it wasn't too rare that, hey, at noon today, I'm getting checked out of school or something, and we're going to go fish, we're going to go golf. He had that availability to do so, and I just always wanted to have that, and that's where that burning desire came from. Even though I didn't have children, obviously at the time when I started, I knew I wanted that type of freedom. What I severely underestimated was the amount of time it takes to earn that freedom.
I feel like we've all been there. Anyone that's an entrepreneur started out, oh, this is gonna be so easy. I'm gonna start it. Everything's gonna come my way. And then you quickly realize that's not really the case. But it's still there. You just have to realize that it takes more work than you originally thought. You want to talk a little bit about what you're doing now? I know that you have a business, and I don't know what all you are allowed to say. So didn't know if you wanted to share that.
So I am a financial advisor at Edward Jones, uh, 15-year entrepreneur. I still own Plains Junk Removal. It started off as a moving company, Plains Moving. Golly, what was that? 6 years ago or so, and COVID is what spurred that. Before that, my biggest company was Backspin Enterprises, where we invented the Backspin tee, won an Edison Award. We were on had a little Shark Tank Australia exposure. We sold all the Major League Baseball teams. That was incredible to go through the inventor experience. That is definitely that one business that I would say, man, I wish I could do over again because it was so quickly successful that that's where my weaknesses were exposed. And by the time you get a hold of those weaknesses, sometimes it's too late, sometimes it's not. Just depends. And then COVID hit. And I had one of those products that people weren't buying when COVID happened. I don't blame them. I didn't have a necessary product that people needed to survive on. Unfortunately, it just crushed under pressure when it came to us trying to scale and expand during the worst economic time in my lifetime. And then, so what do I do? What do I do to go make money? Um, and after all of that turmoil, after losing a 10,000 square foot building and 9 acres of, I say lose it, we auctioned it off, I should say.
Mhm.
We played the game. We played the numbers game and the tax game and this and that. And when it was all said and done, we didn't miss one payment, not one payment to any debt, any credit card, any borrowed money from banks. And that was incredible. And I really want to pat myself on the back for that because we could have. That would have been very challenging. Didn't miss out on any mortgage payments or auto loans. And so to pull myself out of that, I knew I needed to go make fast cash. And so, well, I was still young enough, maybe even still stupid enough. How far can a Red Bull and a gallon of water get me today? And turns out it was a moving company, and that 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 too is a company I wish I would have started earlier when I had the energy, because there is some money to be made in moving services, and we got really good at it, really really good at it. Our 5-star reviews everywhere kind of flaunt it.
That's awesome. So I think that's kind of a perfect way to move into the second question, which is what was one of the biggest mistakes you made early on, and how could someone listening avoid it?
I think it's a great time to talk about this. So, as an inventor, I went through the patent process, and that can be a pretty penny. For those that don't know, it's very rare to get your patent approved its first time through, and that's not to poo-poo on or anything like that. It's just very common to take 2 or 3 attempts, depending on what avenues you're going through, what patent attorneys, maybe you're using an online service. Don't be surprised if per attempt you're not spending 10,000 plus, and it can go up from there easily, especially to have a rock solid patent. Here's what I
Mhm.
learned is that having the best patent in the world doesn't stop people from knocking you off. So I'm getting knocked off in China, in South Korea. I'm getting knocked off here in the US. And we're sending out cease and desist letters. Uh, some of them we even physically handed out to people at their doorstep. I also don't recommend doing that. That has an altercation that comes along with that. But when you're trying to protect yourself, you don't know what to do. And you call your patent attorney and they say, yeah, we can fight this, but how much do you want to spend in court? And if the people who are knocking you off aren't really making profit, what are you suing for? You're not going to get anything from them. So even though I had the patent, I still had to outsell my own idea. I was in competition with my own product. And because we're making it here in America, they're able to make it cheaper. Don't get me wrong, we had the superior product. But if I were to go back and do all of that over again, I think I would have been more prepared to sell the company after 2, 3, or 4 years because no one was really knocking us off yet. And we were very popular. We had, golly, 250,000 followers on social media. And in that particular industry, that was a lot. And it was just easy to get profit rolling. So I wish I would have been more prepared to cash out sooner. And if
Mm.
you're selling a product on TikTok, like if I were to invent, well, I am working on a golf invention at the moment. I don't think I'm going to patent it. I think if I can get the product rolling, I'm just going to put it out there. Obviously, we could go down the rabbit hole of marketing and SEO and all kinds of stuff, AI, golly. But I think I would just sell as fast as I could with an exit strategy a lot sooner than this miracle dream of, hey, I invented something. It's just going to be the best thing ever for the rest of my life.
So it kind of sounds to me, and I had a conversation about this here recently about being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, knowing when to pivot. And it sounds like that's kind of what you're talking about is this realization of, okay, first 3 or 4 years, no one was knocking us off. We were having a lot of great followers. I wish I would have pivoted sooner or changed directions before those things happen. Same thing with the new inventions, things like that. And that's a conversation I had here recently is like knowing when to pivot as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. So what would you say that kind of learning lesson was for you that you're kind of like, okay, now's probably the time I need to pivot. Now's probably the time I need to pivot, that kind of thing. And how can someone realize that in their own business or in their own entrepreneurial journey?
And it varies obviously by what business you might be in, but I would say the best time to pivot is when you're on top. Right
Mm,
when you think, man, this roller coaster is rocking here. Not that you have to do it like tomorrow, but start to have those serious conversations. Go talk to a financial advisor. Go talk to maybe your family, your wife, your husband. Hey, how are we doing right now? Is everyone okay right now? How are our finances? Whatever that may be. Um, because it's really hard to pivot when you're at rock bottom, when you have no borrowing power, when your cash is strapped. When you start to see the SEO and the Google ads and the Facebook ads aren't performing as well, wait a second. Uh, Now I got to throw double. Now I just have to, yeah, we feel good, but now I'm really throwing in twice the amount of effort and money at something. So again, in a perfect world, if you could always pivot when you're on top, it's just so much easier to pivot to something else and keep that roller coaster going than letting something kind of come crumbling down. Again, depends on what it is. Obviously, certain size businesses, if it's more of a service based industry, you can weather the storm a lot longer. When we had down months in the moving industry, we weren't worried about it. Hey, that just meant people weren't moving as much this month.
Hmm.
And then boom, it would turn around and we'd get 40 phone calls a day. When it came to battling marketing and selling a product, sometimes man, I wish I had like another dozen of my buddies who would tell you the same thing. And some of them currently are trying to pivot. They've already done it once or twice, and they're going, you know what? I'm kind of having some success here. I might think about pivoting. And those are tough conversations because there's no way we would have thought that the first time around.
Yeah. And so kind of going the opposite side of that, because you were talking about not getting to that bottom where you have no borrowing power, you have none of that. That's to me, that's a great intersection into the next question was if you do lose everything and you had to rebuild from zero, how would you do that in today's landscape?
So I'm a firm believer now because of what I went through. Making the kind of money that I was really like making that hit rock bottom through COVID is I will forever have a plan B. And now that plan B doesn't have to wait. And that's what I've learned. As I told you earlier, I still own my junk removal company. Is that my number one source of income? No, it's not. It is not my full time job. I don't touch it until the weekends. That's not to say that my brother doesn't run the company during the week. I'm just hands off. It can't take away from my day job. And so having a plan B, and even though I have to throw money at it, right, to keep it going, and it's profitable, um, that is the best way to transition is to just never fully fall down is to have some mattress behind you, maybe an adjustable mattress behind you, so that when you do fall down, your head's still up, uh, and keep on trucking. It's really hard to get to that position, and for those, maybe someone listening to this and watching this is truly on rock bottom, and they're an entrepreneur and they don't know where to go. Well, I could give you the cliche answer: Hey, go bootstrap, go start knocking doors, go start doing this. Yes, you do need to tell people. That's number one, and maybe even annoy people. Call them, text them, put it on Facebook. Those things are free to do, and they're not very intrusive in this day and age, which is nice. And it can be something as easy as, "Hey Jackson, hey bud, just want to let you know I'm still running that junk removal company. If you got any trash for the holidays, you want to clean that garage out for all those Christmas presents, you just let me know." And then you laugh and say, "No, man, I don't need anything." And say, "Okay, that's fine." But it's in your brain. I just planted a seed. I didn't have to be a sleazy salesman to do it. Uh, but sometimes, and we've all been there, you do hit rock bottom, and you just think, "What am I going to do?" If you truly want to be an entrepreneur, sometimes you have to go work for someone else for a bit. I went and drove a forklift and picked up gravel for a full summer. You know why? It's the only job opportunity I had. Fully aware, I told the guy hiring me, "Listen, I don't think I'm going to be here more than like 4 months, but you're going to get the best work." Wouldn't you know it? By the time I'm trying to leave, they're asking me to stay. Um, it's funny how when you tell people I'm not staying, and then you continue to work hard, they want you to stay. It's when you tell someone, "Hey, I'm going to be here forever," and then you give them 50% effort because, oh man, the job's dragging you down. That's not a formula that you want to be a part of if you can avoid it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So going into that next kind of someone's at rock bottom or they're trying to get started. So for those that might be trying to get started, and I remember, I mean, I can look back at me a couple of years ago before I'd started and think, okay, I've got to have this, I've got to have this. I mean, I've got to have everything perfect. I can give you the perfect example with this podcast. I said, okay, this is something that I want to do. I want to be able to help people get that knowledge that I got from going and talking to successful business owners and entrepreneurs. Okay, I need to have the perfect questions. I need to have the right camera, the right lighting, all this junk that I didn't really need. And so I finally just boiled it down to, okay, I'm just going to call people, see who wants to do it. and I'll make a list of questions that I think are interesting, and I'll figure it out later on. So that's a very long-winded way of saying, what do you think is something that newer or younger entrepreneurs think they need to even get started in any form of entrepreneurship or business, but they really don't. They're just it's kind of this form of, well, I don't know what to do, so I'm going to wait until everything's perfect kind of thing.
You don't need the world's best website. You don't
Mm,
need it. You might
mhm.
need a quality landing page. Of course, a good funnel for people, and you can get that done for cheap. I'm pretty sure AI can do that for darn near free these days. Um, you don't need to be wasting your money on paying every little salesman that comes by. I'm not saying they're not good, and strapping yourself, right? Set a hard budget, whatever that may be. Even when that first month of sales come in and you're like, oh man, I can actually pay the bills this month. Okay, that's great, but keep that going. You need 6 months plus of that type mindset. I have a hard budget. I don't have unlimited money. Yes, be smart with your credit cards, but sometimes you do. Some people have to use them. But you don't need all the fancy glamour. Now, I'd love to wrap this new car that I bought. Uh, See the car seat in the back. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to wrap it up, and every time I go somewhere, it just screams what I do so people can stop me. Instead, I make T-shirts. You've seen them, Jackson. It says your junk pays for daycare. Why? Because it does, and it makes people at gas stations go, "My what pays for daycare? Your junk." Oh, my trash. Yes, yes, your trash pays for daycare. I got another one that says mattress police on a hat. That came from the
Mhm.
movie Fletch. If anyone has seen the movie Fletch with Chevy Chase, those are cheaper ways to scream at the world what you're doing as opposed to throwing 500 bucks a month on, um, you know, uh, the next best website or something. I'm not saying there's not good website builders. I'm not saying that. And eventually you want to get all your ducks in a row. But as far as starting off, nothing beats you screaming it to the world. And go ahead and get prepared for family and friends to go, you're doing what now? You starting
Yeah,
a power washing company?
yeah,
How's that going to work, Junior? Well, Dad, I'm going to go ask people if they want their cars washed. And I'm going to charge 50 bucks to do it. And if I can go get 10 of those a month, that'll get me started.
yeah.
And make sure you use their water and water hoses, not your own.
Well, and that's kinda when I first started out, the people that love you the most have the most concern for you, but also if they don't share, like, the vision that you have, like, why are you expecting them to understand something that they have no desire to do, they don't want to do? And so I think you have to really look at it as, "Okay, well, this person's telling me this because they love me or they want what's best for me," but you still have to, at some point, go for it. Like, you have to use discernment in a way and figure out, okay, what is just good quality advice? Hey, this sucks, or hey, this sucks, versus, hey, I don't want you to get hurt, right? Don't put yourself out there too much because I don't want you to make a fool of yourself. And that's one of those things. I don't know if you have anything on that, but for me, especially first starting out, you're doing what?
Yeah, what?
Why? Because I didn't go to college, I didn't do any of that, but for 4 years, I was like, "Okay, this is my college. I'm gonna go network, I'm gonna go meet people, and I'm gonna run this business. I'll be in less debt than I was in college. In fact, I could even make money," which I did, and then going after so you just have to look at it as what and why are you doing it? Like, or at least that's the way I looked at it is, "Okay, well, why am I doing this?" I knew I wanted to be in business somehow, some way, and so I was like, "Okay, well, I'll just start this, and if it lasts for this long, that's great. If it doesn't, I'll do something different." And so I think you something that I had the problem with in the very beginning was over romanticizing my first business. I don't
Yeah.
know if anyone else has done it, but I did it. I was like,
It's your
"Okay, well, I
first
want everything
love,
to be
Jackson. It's your
perfect
first
this
love.
one." Like, I don't wanna give it up. I don't want anything to happen to it. I just want this one to be perfect. And I think that's one of those first things. In fact, it might have been you that told me when we were talking at some point, could have been somewhere else. Um, but just that kind of advice of do something new. You can do new things. Like, you don't have to just stay with this one thing forever. And what I kinda took was every experience that I've had, whether it be a sales job or business A or business B or business C, like, not all of them have to be successful if I learn something from the experience. That
That's
makes
right.
sense.
That's
And so
exactly
that's what I've
right.
tried to make is whatever I'm doing, what's my purpose behind it? Like, if it's successful, great, but what am I trying to learn from the experience at the very least? And that's where I've kinda gotten a lot of my things, like this podcast. I was like, at the very least, if it's not successful, 1, I hope to be able to share knowledge with people that I needed a couple of years ago, help move someone else a few steps forward, and 2, I'm not very comfortable in front of a camera. I'm like, this will at least maybe teach me to become more comfortable on camera. And it's something that people can grow with me and see if they go back and watch my first video and then my 50th and then my 100th. Like, and so I think that's a very important part for me right now in my entrepreneurial journey is whatever I'm going to start, at least a clear goal of what I'm trying to get out of it. Not just make money and success and whatever, but it's like at the very least, if it fails, what am I going to learn from this experience or from doing this? And I don't know if you've experienced anything similar, but that one's been on me here recently quite a bit.
Yeah, you just hit the nail right on the head there. Having a little more goals based opportunities of why you're doing something. And it took me probably a full decade to wrap my head around that, to be honest with you. And you know
Yeah.
what? No one told me that. That's from
Yeah.
experience. So I wish someone would have told me that. Hey, why are you working so hard today? And instead of saying, "Oh, so I can go make $800 a day if I finish this job, and that looks good right now," I should have said, wow, so I can pay for my kids' diapers. It's
Yeah.
just true. It's a little more goals based. I'm working hard right now to polish off a good December because I'm taking a ski trip. We're going to go snow skiing in Angel Fire. And guess what? Guess where my mind's at right now? There's a goal ahead of me. It's not far away. We're about a month away from that trip. So it seems attainable, and I will say this. I thought it was cliche growing up in the school, have these super long-term goals. And don't get me wrong, they're super important. They are. There's some goals, retirement, right? Um, if you want to own a house, if you don't want to own a house, there's arguments for both, especially in today's day and age. Maybe it's a vehicle, but it needs to be happiness. And let me tell you right now, I have been as emotionally distraught when I had the most money in my pocket, and I've been the happiest I've ever been when I've been broke. And that is something that there's no way you would have convinced me of that. But it's because at that time I had different goals. Maybe I didn't verbalize them well, but it was easy to go up and be motivated to go work hard and go move someone's 3,000 square foot house and all their super heavy furniture when I had no money in my pocket. You know why? Because we're making money today. I get to go home and tell my wife, woohoo, we did it today, you know, versus, hey, times are good. What do you want for dinner tonight? I don't know. What do you think, honey? There's a, wait a second. What am I doing this for? So sometimes keeping shorter term goals they help me. Those short term goals really do help me. Sometimes it could be a sales goal, but a lot of times it's an opportunistic goal. Hey, if I work really hard today and get my stuff done as best as possible, I get to go fishing with my daughter.
Mm,
That's a goal that
yeah.
if I can go crush today. Now, obviously, many different jobs I've had. Um, some jobs are easier to get done. Some jobs tell you when you're done. And that's a little different. So pivoting mindsets definitely help. Uh, but back to the point of your closest relatives and friends sometimes are the hardest to maybe quote unquote sell or I like the word convince better. Hey, I have good
Mhm.
information for you. I just need you to hear me. Um, is and you're right, they are looking out for you. Sometimes, actually, a lot of times, I think a lot of young entrepreneurs they go out and spread the word,
Mhm.
but they boast about it as opposed to just spreading the word. And there's a difference. I've learned the hard way. When I come home now, I don't talk about work. Dad's home, husband's home. The dad to my dogs and cats are home. You know, that's who they want. They don't want me to come in and tell them about the clients I'm talking to or whatever it may be, or they especially don't want me to tell them about the junk I just threw away. Uh, so there's a hard stop now. Um, I mean, occasionally, you got to tell your spouse what's going on, keep them informed, definitely. But no, if it can wait, put put your love first, put your family first. And I've kind of started to extend that to my brothers and my sister-in-laws and my own mom and dad. I catch them up on what's going on, but I don't tell them every day all the exciting stuff because something happens when you do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the answer is there. By the time it turns bad, they're like, "Well, it wasn't really that good, was it, son?" I'm like, "No, no, it was good. That's why I was telling you it was good, but
Yeah.
now it's bad." Sometimes I get more family and friends calling me when I'm not telling them everything I'm doing. But then they'll see something on Facebook, wherever I'm at. Maybe I'm doing some big job or flying in an airplane somewhere to go meet some client. Yeah, on my way to Vegas or something. And they're like, What have you been up to?" Well,
Mhm.
now I have their attention. Now they're going to listen again. So there's different ways to get people to open up their ears. And sometimes silence is the best way.
Yeah, absolutely. I've kinda learned that the hard way because at first I wanted to, like, just share with everyone what I was doing and, give you a funny story. When I first started, like, entrepreneurship, business ownership, just about everyone I was like, "Okay, you need to read these books, you need to do these things," and I shortly realized nobody cares, and, the thing that I really learned is not all people want entrepreneurship, like, they just don't. Like, that's something that I had to learn the hard way. I'm like, "Well, this could be great for you," but at the same time, some people just don't. Some people are happy working their job, doing the things that they're doing, and that was like a
I'm jealous of them.
I know. That was a hard one to learn because 'cause I'm like, you know, I'm kinda jealous of them too because the thing that I almost enjoy the most is learning from each experience, and the thing about learning from each experience, generally, it's not when things are going well that you're learning. I mean, you do learn when things are going well, but, like, specifically when things are not going well is when you have to kinda use that brain muscle and, "Okay, how am I gonna figure it out?" Like, earlier when you were talking about hitting rock bottom and, "Okay, how am I gonna make money?" Like, you figure things out. Things get good and you have this tendency to coast. Don't ever do it. Just don't. It's not worth it, ever.
If I could go
Uh,
back and be 20 years old again and say, if you would just work so hard through your 20s, and
yeah,
yeah, everyone wants to go out and hang out with their buddies, and that's a story for a different time. We're very social in our 20s. I'll say that. And that's fine, right? You need some of that. It helps keep you going. But man, if you could keep the distractions down, keep the flaunting down. I'm not saying everyone's like flaunt in a bad way, but did you really need the $50,000 truck when you could have got the $35,000 truck? That's what I'm talking about. Just keep grinding. It's so true. And as you get older, and for those of you that don't know, I'm older than Jackson. Shocking, right? No, I was kidding. But as you get older, it gets harder to put together back to back to back years of just pushing the gas pedal down. It's so hard. You just don't have the time anymore, and there's nothing we can do about it. I think the same way about my health. To be honest with you, it's very similar in my mind. When I was younger, I had all the time to go work out. Heck yeah, I'd drink nothing but water and work out and eat clean and do this and do that. And now I'm mid 30s with a child and a family, and it's like, man, I kind of want that root beer. I kind of need that caffeine and sugar rush right now just so I can keep up, keep going. But it's so true. It's just all of a sudden, and there will be a time every entrepreneur, call it mental health, call it physical health, call it whatever, but every entrepreneur is going to have some moment of, oh, I'm giving something up to keep chasing this. What am I giving up?
yeah,
And at first, it's just money. It's just called investment. It doesn't feel so bad. Well, that's why I'm doing it. I'm investing my time, effort, and money to make this happen. And yeah, that's part of it, or the bank's money, whoever you're borrowing from. But point is, once you get to phase 2 or 3 of, okay, this is rocking here, you still have to make the choices of what you're going to give up, and a lot of it is time. So I like working late nights. I don't really have the job to be talking to people late at night anymore, but that is where I get a lot of my computer work done still. Um, you just start to really pick and choose when you give up your time, because things become important.
Yeah, absolutely. So my next question for you is this is a question that I like to ask everyone because I feel like advice is always meant in the best way, kind of like we were talking about earlier. But what would you say is a piece of advice you were given earlier on? It doesn't have to be earlier on, but generally it is earlier on in your entrepreneurial journey that turned out to be wrong or just not true for you and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I have the exact thought in my head here, and it was a great piece of advice. It was just like you said, it was one of those things that just, at least so far, hasn't turned out that way. It I will also say that it still has a chance to turn out that way. At least, so it was about 12 years ago. I got a piece of advice that a gentleman that is a very successful entrepreneur told me, he goes, Taylor, one thing you have to do as a business owner is you've got to be really, really good at one thing in your business. And whether that one thing is, I don't know, crunching numbers, maybe that one good thing is selling, maybe that one good thing is networking, whatever that is, uh, you got to be the best in your circle, the best in your city, the best in your state about doing it. I understand the concept, I really do. And in his line of work, it actually made sense with what he was doing. I wasn't in that line of work, and so or I've found out that to keep plan B and plan C and have that bed behind me to catch me in case I fall down again, it's been nice to be average at a few things. I can change a flat tire. I can fix things. I can weld. I can drive a forklift. I can talk to people. I can get on stage and go talk to college students. It just I've learned that maybe I'm not going to be the best at one thing yet, but it's been pretty nice being pretty good at a few things.
Yeah. So going into the next question, it's not really advice, but in a way it is. It's what skill do you think every new entrepreneur or new business owner, what do you think is an essential skill for them to learn?
How to say no to salesmen. I am dead serious. Sounds easy, right? But
Mhm.
when you're in that mode of growth mode and scaling your business and getting it up to going, and someone says, "Oh my gosh, I can help you. I can get the phone ringing, dude. Man, you hire me, I'm gonna go out there and sell a boatload for you. You just pay me X amount a month, and I'm gonna go do it. This is your business." I'm not saying to not hire people. I'm not saying to not scale, but it's okay to say no, or just not yet. Maybe that might be a better phrase. Just, hey, not yet. Or as much as I hate it, because when you're looking for a job, you hate the word commission, right? When you're needing a job, you hate that term. That's the opposite when you're an entrepreneur. When you, I love paying people good money to come help me. I say work for me, but come help me. Run this company. I'm going to pay you well today after we collect. So otherwise, none of it means anything. You know. Uh, Now, having said that, service-based industries can be a little different. I'm not going to go hire a plumber and say, "Hey, I'm not paying you unless you fix my plumbing." Yeah, he's going to get paid for doing his job. But that's just the name of the game. Salesmen can make money, but it's always after the fact. And if you have a job that you're getting a salary plus commission, count your lucky stars. I would also say, though, be ready to pivot. If you're in sales, and maybe that is your entrepreneurship, you know, well, like being a financial advisor, right? Although technically I am employed, it's my book. It's my book of
Mhm.
business, and so I have to go. I have to go earn it. So I go sell myself with knowledge, and so it never really stops. So if you're not an entrepreneur, don't own a business yet on paper, don't think that that doesn't make you an entrepreneur. By the way, it does.
Yeah. So next question, and we'll kind of wrap up with two last questions. Just what's a short and sweet version of if someone is listening and they want to either start or level up their business in the next 12 months, what is say one thing that they should focus on or commit to doing for 12 months. And after 12 months, they're just going to be in a better position, either if they're starting from zero or if they're just kind of stuck and they're trying to get out of that rut and get to the next level in the next year.
Honestly, the more, and for anyone's watching this that is that owns their own marketing company, they're probably going to hate what I'm about to say. But if you can just get somewhat good, and it may take 12 months, right? If you
Yeah.
can get somewhat affluent with how to get cheap, creative SEO, advertising, marketing, whatever you want to call it, and be consistent with it. Find a way. I don't care if it's $5 a day and that's all you can afford to put out to the internet. That's better than nothing. But it doesn't stop there. So find a way to reach 20 plus people a day, whatever that number is in your industry. I don't know what it may be, but uh, you've got to keep the wheels moving forward. Being
Yeah.
told no, or if someone doesn't have any interest, whatever, maybe they just take your business card and you never know if you're going to hear from them. I don't care. That I've got so much more business by getting that going. And yeah, it can take a long time. Um, and the faster more you get after it, sometimes I have to tell my wife, listen, I got to go out tonight. I'm not going to do anything bad. I got to go out and I got to go to these restaurants. I got to go to these entertainment centers. I'm going to go pass out 400 business cards this weekend. Like it's going to happen. Because business cards are cheap and my time is free. When financially it's free anyways. So get it out there. I think everyone, because on Facebook pages, especially in the junk removal moving industry, I always see people posting and they call me all the time. How are you getting phone calls? Where are you getting your leads? That's always a big question. And
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, nobody has the perfect answer. Oh, this is the one thing I do, and it has made my
Yeah.
company. And it's a little more tough than that. But we all can do a better job of getting better at that one lead source, whatever that lead generation tactic may be. I myself like meeting people in person, even though I still do online advertising. I love meeting someone, having my hair slicked back, trying to dress up a little bit. I don't wear suit and ties very much, but just enough to make them go, okay, he's professional, but still approachable. I'll also say that I've met women in sales and in entrepreneurship. They have, some women have to really doll themselves up. They they want to look like a knockout, you know. And if you guys don't know this or not, visual representation of yourself physically is a massive part of success. And for the ugly people that don't like getting on camera, you can try a little harder. It's okay. It's okay. Some of us are shy in front of a camera like Jackson, but he looks just fine just now. I think we would all agree. But it is true. But it's just presenting yourself. Other people, they get to dress down. Uh, think of um, think of this isn't a bad thing. This is a good thing. Think of like some of your roofers. Some get to wear jeans and a collared shirt, maybe, right? They're
Yeah.
not going to wear a suit and tie to your doorstep. That wouldn't fit the part.
Yeah.
So a lot of when and I run to this problem myself. Um, if I dress up too nice, it can be almost intimidating to somebody because I want to talk to them about their money.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, and I
oh,
think it's also kinda like you were talking about with the roofer, how they wouldn't wear a suit and tie. It's kinda like almost situational awareness in a way. Like, for me, I'm a younger guy, and so for me to dress down, it wouldn't fit a lot of the situations and circles that I'm going to, but when I wear slacks and a blazer or when I wear a suit, it's kinda like, "Okay, well, this guy's serious because I'm younger." I don't have the gray hair. I don't have kinda that some of that more experience or been around the block like some people have, so for younger people, I think it's a way to differentiate yourself. If you're in a professional industry, now, same thing. If you're
right.
going and knocking on doors for roofers, you're not gonna wear a suit and tie. So I think part of that is knowing, like, what is the maybe higher end of acceptable in the
Yeah,
area that you're trying to be in, right? Like,
absolutely.
I in the professional services, I'm not gonna walk in golf shorts and a polo or a non-collared shirt into a meeting with someone, right? It it wouldn't make sense. Same thing said, going back to a roofer, wearing golf shorts tucked in with a logoed polo, that's that's a pretty acceptable thing for the roofing industry. So I
Right.
think you have to figure out what that is and where you can, I mean, just the small things to differentiate yourself, right? So the last question that I'm going to ask you before is, what is, if everything that you have is wiped away, no social media content, no any advice that you've ever given anyone, and you can only leave one piece of advice for everyone, what
Mm.
would that?
Let's think about this. Don't be afraid to sleep in a little longer in the mornings if it means that you can work that much harder and longer through the evenings, to be honest with you. I think it's overplayed. Hey, wake up, 4 o'clock in the morning. Not saying if you're doing that to work out and that works for you, great. But just in general, from what other successful people, uh, not to say they don't get up and get after it, but it's more about the duration of how long they can have quality work. And if that means sleeping in until 7:30, 8:30, whatever that may be, but it means you're going to crush it for 10 hours that day, good, awesome. If I woke up at 6 a.m., I am mentally checked out by 2:33 p.m. I'm just going to be honest, but that's also because I know my body, and probably being a new dad will do that to you too. Uh, So, whatever your routine is to get you to get that quality work for as long as possible, that's what's going to give you the most production. I don't even care what field you're in. Um, if you follow the news much at all, you see other countries are starting to change their work schedules for their masses, and they're starting to see some success. COVID really showed a lot of that to us. Zoom and webinars became very popular. Oh my gosh, we're just as productive when these people are working at home. Well, there's a reason. They're not tired and they're comfortable, and they're qualified, of course, too. So yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but
No, I think that's great, and I think part of it is also, like, what's your intentionality behind it? Like you said, don't be afraid to sleep in if you're gonna be able to work that much harder. I think a lot of people now just want the first part. I wanna sleep in, but I wanna work the same amount, right? And I think that is a big part of that is, are you sleeping in till 8 or 9 so that you can work until 8 or 9, right?
that's right.
So I think part of that's knowing what and why you're doing it. I think some people just take it as, "Okay, I'm gonna sleep until 9 so that I'm good and fresh," but then, I still wanna clock out at 4:30 or 5.
Yep,
That's it's not really a way to do it. So I think you have to look at it that way too.
absolutely.
But absolutely. Well, Taylor, it has been great having you. For the people who want to know more about you, want to keep up with you, what's the best way or the best platform for them to check you out on?
Oh man, probably Facebook is where you're gonna find my profile page. Um, that's the only personal social media page I have, actually. All the other Instagram and TikToks are all business related. So just look me up. If you Google my name, I'm gonna pop up. It's probably gonna have Edward Jones next to it. Please feel free to call that number. That would be just amazing, and we can talk a lot about any questions you may have.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, Taylor, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a great conversation. I think this will help a lot of people. So it's been great having you.
Man, this was great. Let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely.